Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of Teaching Unplugged. And in this episode, as usual, we're going to talk about an activity that can be done easily in the classroom without using any material. Right, and today's activity is called Handshakes. Right, so let me tell you a bit about this wonderful activity. This activity is actually based on teaching with trauma. So it has this kind of acting element where students would need to act in the activity. So all what you need to do is to create a situation where students need to meet one another, welcome one another, and handshake one another. So let's see how I did this activity with a group of wonderful teachers at an Egyptian school. Let's go.
So my friends, I want you to imagine that you were friends at secondary school, but you haven't seen each other for about 17 years. So you were friends at secondary school, but you haven't seen each other for how long?
17.
Yeah, 17 to 15 years. And your school decided to throw a reunion party. So you're meeting again after how many years? 17 years. So please stand up, everybody. Now, what I want you to do, you will welcome each other as if you hadn't seen one another for 17 years. And remember, I want you to ask about your friends about what they've been doing for 15 years, how they are, and all that stuff, right? 3, 2, 1, go!
So as you saw, my friends, all I did was just creating a background story for the activity. And then students did everything and they were welcoming each other, and as you saw in the video. Now let me show you how I can adapt my story and recreate this activity and make it about a whole different context. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you for the wonderful acting. Right, okay, good. Now, I want you to imagine now that you are at an ELT conference, right? An ELT conference, English Language Teaching Conference, right? And then you attended, the plenary part, and now it's the coffee break. And during the coffee break, you decided, okay, to get to know people attending the conference with you. So, are these people your friends?
Yeah.
So you're meeting for the first time. Wonderful. So what I want you to do is to talk to those people, tell them who you are, which school you teach at, and what you do exactly, right? And try to build up good business relationships, right? So in this one, are we going to be informal or semi-formal? Right, kind of, yeah, semi-formal. So stand up, everybody. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wonderful. So as you saw, my friends, now it was a bit more formal. Now let's just again change the background story and see the activity happening one more time, but in a different way. Let's go.
Okay, right. Now, the last scenario. Now, it is a sad day. Sorry. A sad day. Because a friend of yours lost his mom. Yeah, so that's a very sad day, right? And what you need to do is that all of you are meeting up in the funeral in order to express your condolences to your friend for his loss. So, of course, you need to sound sad, right? Okay? And don't smile. It's a funeral, remember, right? So try to express how sad and how bad you feel for your friend's loss. I know that some people can't resist laughing at funerals. I can see it in some people's eyes, but just please, let's have things under control. Are we ready? Yeah. Okay, so stand up if you please. Yeah, you talk to different people. 3. No. What you can do is that you talk even to someone and say, I'm very sorry for his loss, you know, something like that, right? 3 to 1, go. Thank you so much.
So now, my friends, you watched 3 different versions of the activity called Handshakes. Now let's talk a bit about the skills focused on in the activity. It's very obvious that there is a good focus on listening and speaking. It's a productive activity. Students speak, exchange ideas, and they listen to one another, so lovely one. Right. Now, in terms of systems, when we think about it, there is a very good focus on functional language. All what you need to do is to change the background story in order to integrate the functional language you want in the activity. So for example, in the first version, we were talking about friends who haven't seen each other for 17 or 15 years. In the second version, we were talking about teachers meeting one another for the first time. So it was a bit formal. And in the last one, it was a funeral where people need to offer condolences. And again, and functions can change as long as you change the background story in the activity. Now, let's think about the level. And I would say this activity can run even with lower levels. Yes, not the same amount of production, but it can work because you can make them, university students may be meeting for the first time, asking each other's very specific question like, what's your name? Where are you from? What's your hometown? And all these questions, okay, that yes, the answers would be limited, not a lot of production, but that's fine with lower levels. So it is adaptable. It can be run with lower levels as well. Now, in terms of advantages, I believe that the activity is fun. And running a funny activity is a plus because you want the students to enjoy learning. And when the students are enjoying learning, their level of anxiety is low and their level of acquisition is high. They can acquire language easily, they can learn easily as long as they're not worried or anxious. So such activities are fine. Also, it's a good activity for those kinesthetic students who like to move and, and do something instead of sitting in a classroom all the time. So it's very lovely for such students. Also think about this, as we always do here in Teaching Unplugged, a zero material activity. Like I used no material whatsoever, and look at students. They were productive, they were speaking, they were engaged. So it's a wonderful in that manner. Also think about setting up the activity. It's not a complicated activity in terms of giving instructions. There aren't a lot of instructions. It's just a straightforward, and that's also a plus for the teacher. Like you don't need to think a lot on how you're going to get your students to understand what you want them to do. So it's also nice in that scenario. Also, we mentioned before adaptability. The activity can be easily adapted to be appropriate for different contexts, and that's nice. Now, if we're talking about the disadvantages of the activity, maybe we can say that some shy students find it difficult to act, However, one good thing about the activity is that, students are mingling together, but it's still acting is not easy for shy students. Right. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaching Unplugged, and wait for more. More activities are coming, and with no material whatsoever. This was Shadi Abu Yusuf. Thank you so much. And I'll be down there in the comments if you have any questions. Bye-bye.